Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of An Octave Higher. So, we kinda left off in a really weird spot. The factory worker, who is said to be a factory worker in the description of the game anyway, she might be a prostitute instead? Which is a little questionable. So, yeah, let's figure out what's going on. I'm home. I announced that in a very, very small voice. Saying I'm home is a habit I've had since I was I can't talk, oh fuck. Saying I'm home is a habit I've had since I was a little kid, but I don't really like saying it in this particular house. Yeah, that's understandable. Yeah, help me! A young woman runs across the lobby screaming. She's naked. I'm gonna get ya! And then a man twice her age runs after her. He's naked too, of course. I don't know what kind of role-playing they're doing today. I won't be asking. Oh, Elise, you're back! How was your work? I turned to see the woman who called my name. It's Madame Beauvoir. Oh, I did the wrong voice then. Oh, you know, same as usual. That sounds like my day. Business as usual. Yeah, I can see that. Unfortunately, naked old men chasing naked screaming girls is business as usual here at Mason. Madame Beauvoir gives me a smile and then prances over to attend a group of aristocrats. Madame Edith de Beauvoir is the owner of this brothel, but occasionally she still takes customers herself, especially if the customers are famous lords. Indeed, although she's already past 30, the Madame is gorgeous. Her demeanor and her manner of speaking are also very elegant, like a lady in the house of a lord. Despite her age, she is the most expensive prostitute in Maison de Beauvoir. I owe my life to the Madame. If she hadn't taken me in after I was abandoned by my parents, I don't know what kind of life I would be leading now. I probably wouldn't even be alive. I mean, sure, I would like to have a normal home, but at least here I can sleep under a roof instead of an alley somewhere. When she took me in, Madame also agreed not to make me work, since I got a job at the factory. Well, until I turned 16, that is. On my 16th birthday, she's going to make me serve my first customer, and she already has a list of high bidders. My birthday is less than 3 months. With nothing else to do, I drag myself upstairs and waddle past a series of doors on my left. Each room is occupied at this hour. Each contains a customer and a girl. No matter how many times I hear the sounds from behind these doors, I cringe. I'll never be comfortable with it. I don't blame ya. I wouldn't be comfortable with that either. The door opens in front of me. The young, naked, screaming woman from before comes out of the room. Now, though, she isn't naked and she isn't screaming. It's a nice change of pace for her. Oh, hey, Elise! Oh. Never mind. Oh, hey, Elise. Hi. Where did the man go? Oh, he had to leave through the window because the Dementors were coming for him. The who? It's part of our roleplay. Never mind. I'm also wondering how she emerged from a room on the 2nd floor when I last saw her running across the lobby. But no, I won't ask. She leans on the wall, looking up at the ceiling. She mutters something with a sigh. She looks exhausted. Heh, sleeping with that geezer is one thing, but being chased around the house naked is really taking a toll on me. You have no idea how easy it is to slip on these floors if you're not wearing any shoes. Why do you keep servicing him, then? With her head still turned up, she glances at me and answers matter-of-factly, because his tip is bigger than his cock. I look down and notice that her dress is torn. Blood is dripping from a small cut on her skin. Oh, you're bleeding! Yeah, he got a little aggressive back there. I bring my right hand to her wound. A small benefit of working at the factory is that I get to drink mana potions every day. Most of it is spent by the end of the work shift, but sometimes I get to go home with a little mana remaining in my body. Today is one of those days. I focus on compassion while my last bit of mana starts accumulating in my hand. Transform. Oh, she's able to do magic! Oh, that's so cute! There's a soft glow of light around her wound, and when it fades, there's no more cut. Not even a scar. Wow, thank you, Elise. Good thing you had some mana left today. You're welcome. It didn't fix your torn dress, though. Well, magic can't fix everything, can it? Too bad, though. If magic could fix inanimate things, I could look like a princess even on my days off! Well, she looks relieved to have been healed and doesn't seem too concerned about her dress, so I'm happy. Yeah, it would be nice, right? Compassion magic only works on people, plants, and animals. The gods know I've tried curing my laundry of sweat and dirt with a cure spell, but it never works. But, oh, I wonder if your magic can restore my... you know? She's giggling naughtily. What is she talking about? Your what? Never mind. I think I should get to my next customer. Thanks, Elise. She goes downstairs to greet a customer who has just entered the lobby. I head to my room. Soon I come upon a set of small stairs. They lead to the attic where I live. That's a really pitiful attic, but then again, it's an attic. This attic is where I've been living since coming to Mason 6 years ago. It's hardly a palace, but, well, it has a bed at least. And compared to all the other rooms, it's relatively quiet and isolated. I collapse onto my bed. I should probably take a bath and change into a different set of clothes before sleeping, but right now I'm feeling very exhausted. I can still hear obscene sounds from below. Occasionally they are accompanied by annoying high-pitched laughter from young women and incoherent slurs from drunk men. In less than 3 months I will be joining the chorus of that annoying high-pitched laughter. I don't want to think about that right now. Right now all I want to do is... Earth Day 25 Sextilis AM 313. I open my eyes. My room is bathed in sunlight. I groggily sit up and just sort of wait until I have enough energy to stand. Once I manage to do that, I grab a towel and a fresh uniform. It's only then that I realize I'm still wearing my factory clothes from yesterday. I go downstairs thinking how unpleasant it is to change out of work clothes just to change back into work clothes. Mason in the morning is actually pretty pleasant. It is so much different from the place it becomes at night. For one thing, it's quieter when there are no patrons around to start naked games of hide and seek. That's not to say that all traces of last night are gone. Bottles of booze and cigarette butts are scattered around. There's also a topless girl snoozing on the couch over there. When I get to the bathroom, I peek inside first. Sometimes you find a passed out girl here too. Thankfully it's empty today, so I go in. I come out of the bathroom changed into a cleaner set of the same clothes I was just wearing. It's a small change, but I feel refreshed. I leave Mason after drinking a glass of water in the kitchen. I always skip breakfast. Oh hey! It looks a lot more... neater out here, in a sense. Kinda like those European places with all the old buildings. The morning air outside feels nice. Apparently people who aren't from around here can smell something foul in the air even on days like this, but we Poles hardly notice it anymore. Mason has its own large courtyard, but the street that runs along it is pretty out of the way. I have to go to a wider street closer to the city to get to the nearest omnibus stop. The factory I work at is actually located in a Poles district, but it's faster to take the omnibus from the city than to trudge through a tangled maze of narrow alleys. Along my way, I see a group of men and women sitting on the wayside. Good morning! They smile and wave at me. People around here used to scowl at me if they saw me entering or leaving Mason, but now they're quite friendly. Either they've heard about my circumstances or they've just stopped caring. There are already a couple other factory workers waiting at the omnibus stop when I get there. The factory has thousands of workers, so I don't know anyone else waiting here with me. I only recognize them from their uniforms, and I'm sure they wouldn't know me either if they saw me in my normal clothes. Still, we exchange smiles as a greeting. Before long, I see the omnibus arriving. I get on the floating platform. Actually, sometimes I still find the omnibus scary. The platform wobbles every time someone steps on it, and also I feel much lighter than normal after I get on. And I always worry about what would happen if the driver suddenly ran out of mana. I know that's a silly thought. The Bargways never run out of mana like we Poles do, but still. There outside, the omnibus shifts all of a sudden, and we're carried forward. In a few seconds, the omnibus starts to pick up speed. After making a few stops to pick up and drop off passengers, the omnibus reaches an intersection where it should turn left towards the factory. However, I notice that the street is closed today. Excuse me. There are circa There are some government workers there. They look like they're installing a new magic machine. The omnibus makes a right turn instead. Oh, we're taking a detour through the city center. I haven't seen this part of the city in such a long time. Everyone outside my window is so shiny. Even at noon, the places where we proles live never look like this. The center of Overture is like a place out of a fairy tale. Huge, high buildings that you have to strain to see the tops of, and even taller towers pierce high into the sky. I'm captivated by it all. Even the sidewalks are beautiful to me. I see some people flying in their own private carriages instead of taking the omnibus, and they're all wearing really beautiful dresses. Even the people who are walking down the street look classy. I also notice a lot of police officers. There's at least one of them on every street corner. That makes sense. Since everyone is capable of using magic in the city, the police have to be around to deal with anyone who misuses magic. The omnibus pulls up to another stop. Some passengers get off while new passengers get on the platform. The omnibus sways as it tries to compensate for the shifting weight. My stomach doesn't like this at all. Oh hey! They are on the omnibus this time! Among the new passengers, there's a young boy and a young girl who look slightly older than me. From their uniforms, I guess they're students. The two teenagers sit next to each other. Aretha and I are taking our usual omnibus, but there's something unusual about it this morning. What's with this omnibus? Well, the driver is nullifying a bit too much gravity, but is that a problem? Not that. I was talking about the unusually large number of proles. Oh, that? The factory workers usually get off before our stop, but the main factory road is closed today. I heard they're installing a new drinking fountain. Didn't you read the news? Did you read that in the Overture Science Journal? No. Then I must not have read it. Nerd. We enjoy the commute in silence for a while, feeling the cool breeze coming from the front of the omnibus. Aretha, you mentioned nullifying gravity, right? Uh-huh. Before omnibuses were made as magic machines, they were only driven by controlling the surrounding air, weren't they? Yes, but it was more difficult to steer because an omnibus was heavy. The driver had to have a strong faith to move an omnibus around. On the other hand, nullifying some gravity allows an omnibus to be almost as light as a personal carriage, even though it is much bigger. So why didn't traditional omnibuses use the same method as today's omnibuses? Because the driver would have had to be really skilled in both faith and willpower magic. It's not a problem now because anyone can operate magic machines even though they're not skilled in the requisite traits. For example, you're not gifted in courage, but you can use your stove at home, right? Interesting. Actually, I always wonder about that. Why can I use my stove even though I'm not gifted in courage? Aretha's eyes flare up. As a magical engineering student, she must like this topic. You know how fire is cast, of course. Well, of course. Fire equals summon, brackets courage. It's very basic. Right, well, when you cast fire, you actually perform these separate... What? Oh god. When you cast fire, you actually perform 3 separate acts. First, you focus on the courage trait. What actually happens is that a little bit of the mana in your body is infused with courage. Second, you invoke the summon ability. What actually happens here is that your body consumes the courage-infused mana to summon the fire. And it's only then, third, that you release the magic from your hand. Aretha pauses to make sure I understand. You know what? I never really think of these steps when casting a spell because they're done unconsciously, but I remember learning about this in IMS. You mean Introduction to Magical Suffering, right? Evidently she remembers how I used to complain about IMS. Anyway, what your stove at home does is the second and third steps. It summons fire using courage-infused mana and releases the magic. Spell machines can't do the first step. That's what you're touching the stove and focusing on courage is for. When you touch the stove and focus on courage, your body infuses courage into a portion of your mana, and then that courage-infused mana flows into the stove. And then the stove can perform the second and third steps automatically. I stroke my chin. I've learned this before, I'm sure, but it's good to be reminded of how magic machinery works. In a very real sense, it's the basis of our modern world. So basically, a magic machine takes mana that's already infused with one or more magical traits by a human, and then it invokes magical abilities using that mana. In other words, a machine is just a way to automate the process of invoking summon, amplify, nullify, transform, or any combination of these magical abilities. Yeah, I think I get it. Being gifted in a magical trait means you have natural talent to invoke magical abilities on that particular magic trait. But even if you're not gifted in a trait, you can still infuse your mana with that trait. You just can't easily invoke abilities using that mana. However, when you use a magic machine, you don't have to invoke any magical abilities because the magic machine does it for you. Therefore, it doesn't matter what magical traits you're gifted in. Bingo! My friends is smart. Mommy is happy. Sometimes she claims to be my lover, other times my elder sister. For some reason today, she is my mother. While Aretha is still laughing, our omnibus comes to a halt in front of the conservatoire. We get up from our seats and step off the omnibus. I take a look at the pearls again as I get off the bus. A girl is gazing longingly at the conservatoire. I can feel a faint aura radiating from her, courageous and compassionate. Friends? Coming. From the omnibus stop, we saunter across the spacious conservatoire courtyard. The courtyard is surrounded by 3 buildings on its east, west, and north sides, as it's open to the street on the south. The omnibus stop is right across the street. If you drew a line from the omnibus stop to the north building's main entrance, that line would be parallel to the east and west buildings and divide the courtyard into 2 rectangles of equal size. The north building is the main building and is much larger than the other 2. If someone tells you to go to the conservatoire building without specifying which one, you can safely assume that he means the north building. It's also where most academic activities are conducted, so if you're looking for a classroom or a laboratory, that's where you should go. The west building, the smallest of the 3, is for administrative purposes, which is why it's usually only crowded at the beginning of an academic year or right before graduation. The east building is for everything else. It houses facilities that aren't directly related to magical science and engineering, such as the library, the art room, and various club rooms. Oh hey, it's already the weekend tomorrow, isn't it? Tomorrow is light day, so yes it is. Yes indeed, actually. Do you have any plans? No. Then let's go see a Kentoscope show. Kentoscope is a relatively modern magic machine invention. It makes pictures move. It's like watching a play, but there are no actors on stage. Well, there's not even a stage. There's just a wall, and this machine projects images onto the wall from a long strip of individual pictures through a shutter. Apparently it works by continuously running the strip of pictures over a projecting light and alternatively opening and closing the shutter, which is controlled using the same wind magic as the one used to levitate a carriage or an omnibus, or to rotate the hour and minute hands of a chronometer. A magician operates the Kentoscope by casting illumination magic to produce the light required to project the images. It's really quite a fascinating little machine. The Kentoscope show, huh? You don't have anything to do tomorrow, right? It's not like you'll suddenly get a girlfriend today. Hey, it could happen. Yeah, right. Fine, I'll go see a Kentoscope show with you tomorrow. Great, let's meet at the theater at noon. Sure. Aretha and I stop walking when we reach the north building's entrance. So, are you going to the conference hall now? I'll look for Professor Poe before that. Okay, good luck on your presentation. Yeah. Not feeling confident? Well, to be honest, no, not really. Relax, friends, I'll teach you a little magic charm. Whenever you get nervous, say my name 3 times in your heart. It will make the nervousness go away. Oh, I got a choice. I guess I'll try it. Aretha, Aretha, Aretha. Huh? Why did you actually do it? That was obviously just a joke, and I said in your heart. But I wanted to see if it would work. So, did it? Maybe. I gotta go. Bye. Huh? Is she blushing? That's not like her. I don't feel so nervous anymore, though. Maybe the charm did work. There is still an hour before the symposium begins, but I already noticed many unfamiliar faces and uniforms among the people in the main hall. They're attendees from institutions outside the conservatoire. I head straight to the Magic Systems Laboratory. Oh my god! Okay, personally, I was not expecting Professor Poe to look anything like that, but... Okay. Alright. Okay. In the lab, Professor Poe is standing near a small floating ball of water about as wide as my palm. His left hand is pointed at the floor underneath the ball of water.
Good morning, Franz. Mind your steps. There is a zero-gravity space in front of me.
Good morning, Professor. What are you doing?
Watch.
Keeping his left hand pointed at the floor, he uses his right hand to pick up some green tea leaves from his desk and slip them inside the ball of water. Next, he brings his right hand a few inches under the ball and opens his palm. He summons courage, I guess. A small fire appears above his open hand, heating the ball of water. The water gradually turns green because of the tea leaves inside. Just a few seconds later, Professor Poe closes his hand to extinguish the fire. He now picks up a mug from his desk and brings it directly under the ball of tea. With a sudden flare, he pulls his left hand up, releasing the spell, and the ball of tea plops perfectly into the mug.
Phew.
He turns to me and waves his eyebrows up and down as he takes a sip of tea.
Ready for the symposium, young man?
Wait a minute, what were you doing?
As you could see, I wasn't experimenting.
He swirls his tea in my direction to remind me.
And I am happy to report that the experiment was a success.
Well, I wouldn't call it an experiment. All you did was make tea.
Wrong, Franz. What I did was try out a novel way of making tea.
Why? I already know how to make tea.
Let me give you a life lesson.
He takes another sip.
Here's a secret to make your life infinitely more relaxing. Whenever you find yourself about to ask why, stop and ask instead, why not? Suppose someone said to you, let's make a carrot that doesn't only fly, but it also spins in the air. Your first instinct might be to ask why, because you know that flying straight should be easier and more efficient. But that is not a reason not to make a spinning carrot. It is merely a reason to make a carrot that flies straight. No one will stop you if you want to build a spinning carrot, because why not? The day we stop asking why not will be the day we stop innovating, which may also be, well, the day we stop advancing as a civilization. The breadth of human knowledge is an accumulation of acting upon the why nots. Man, he has a point there. Professor Poe calmly drinks his tea again. How do you make a spinning carriage? I'll show you someday.
I'm not sure I want to know. I think I'd get nauseous. Yes, I'm ready for the symposium.
Very good. Let's go.
He gulps down the rest of his tea and we're off. With Professor Poe walking beside me, the unfamiliar faces that 10 minutes ago never bothered looking in my direction now try to approach us just to greet and exchange handshakes with the professor. Everybody seems to recognize you.
Oh, well, I've worked with lots of institutions over the years.
In fact, Professor Poe is all but a celebrity in research circles. When he was young, if you said this in front of the professor, he'd quip that he is still young at heart. Professor Poe successfully solved one of the many long-standing mysteries of magic. His research answered the question of how the water, fire, rocks, and wind that magicians summon are made of elements that already exist in nature. So, for example, when we cast water, the water is summoned from a nearby sea, and eventually it finds its way back to the sea. Nothing is gained and nothing is lost. Most people are familiar with his book on the subject, if not his name. The title is Whence Magic Comes, Whither Magic Goes, or Why Overture Isn't Drowned in a Giant Flood After 3 Centuries of Casting Water Spells. It looks like many people from the industry are attending this year.
Yes, MM alone is sending about 100 representatives.
MM? Magical Mechanical?
What other MM would attend a science conference?
Well, fair enough. At home I always see those 2 letters printed on my coffee machine. At the conservatoire I write it on the lab equipment. In winter I see it on my room heater. In summer on the room cooler. All year long on my chronometer. MM, short for Magical Mechanical, is the largest magic machine manufacturer in Overture, quite possibly in the world. They have factories not only in Overture, but also in other colonies. We've arrived at the conference hall on the top floor, which is already packed full with the symposium attendees. Just as we're entering the hall, we bump into a beautiful woman.
Oh, Professor Poe!
Why, if it isn't Dr. Elise Blyton. How are you?
I'm fine. I hope you are too.
But of course.
The woman returns the professor's chuckle with a kind smile, and then her gaze shifts to me.
Hi, friends.
Hi, Dr. Blyton. I didn't know you'd be coming. I might be imagining this, but I feel her smile has turned seductive.
But I wouldn't miss my cute friend's representation for the world.
Or presentation for the world. Like mother, like daughter.
Oh, what a surprise! My student and Dr. Blyton are already acquainted with each other.
I'm friends with her daughter.
Oh, I see. I've heard of that daughter of yours, Dr. Blyton. She's working on a very interesting project, I hear.
I have nothing to do with her project. She came up with that on her own. I honestly don't know why the Conservatoire keeps inviting me to the symposium, considering that I already do any work on magic these days. Considering that I hardly do any work on magic these days.
That is absolutely not true. Your work helps us understand the most important component of magic itself.
Without saying anything, Dr. Blyton just smiles at the professor's remark. The professor turns to me.
Well, you'll be sitting with the other presenters, right? I'll be watching with the audience.
You should be giving this presentation instead of me.
Oh, I've had my fair share of that, thank you very much. This year, I think I'll just relax and watch.
Good luck, friends! They both grin as they start walking toward the front row to join the other professors. I head to the seats in front reserved for presenters. As I turn a corner, I almost run straight into a man. We both stop suddenly surprised. Sorry. He looks about my age. Is he a student from another conservatoire? But he's not wearing any uniform. Actually, from the way he's dressed, he might be an aristocrat, but I didn't see any other aristocrats. Oh well, I guess there really are all kinds of people attending this symposium. But I have a nagging feeling about this man. Have I seen him somewhere before? Yeah, you saw him on the street looking really pissed off, and so you decided to avoid him. What the hell is this peasant doing, just standing and staring at my face? Admiring my profile? Begone! Hey, can you move? Sorry. I'm surrounded by idiots. What? He's walking toward the front row? Is he presenting? He only looks my age. He's even wearing a goddamn uniform. They're even letting students present these days? I knew it. This symposium is a joke. I can't believe I'm here. I take a seat at the back. At the same time, a woman who seems to be MC goes up to the podium. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We've come to Conservatoire d'Ouverture's 17th Annual Symposium. Applause from the audience, but not from me. Today we have 15 amazing presenters who will be sharing their knowledge with us. We will have 8 presentations in the morning and the rest in the afternoon. 15? Did she say 15? God save me. My father makes me attend this symposium every year. He says it's a good opportunity for me to experience the work of the greatest creative minds in the city firsthand, since I'm homeschooled and don't otherwise get to interact with academics. As the biggest shareholder in Magical Mechanical, it was easy for my father to make MM send me as one of their representatives, and it was equally easy for MM to send as many representatives as they wanted, them being the corporate sponsor of this event. Damn this luck. But before that, I'd like to call the headmaster of Conservatoire d'Ouverture, Mr. But seriously, this symposium is a joke. Those presenters are not even here to share knowledge. They're either trying to sell something or get funding for their research. They're fakes! All of them. Pause again. Some old geezer goes up on the podium. The conference hall is pretty big. If you drew a hexagon on the floor, you could probably place Sorcerer there. There wouldn't be any space left for an audience, though. Not that I would mind. Looks like there are exits to some kind of balcony outside from which one is able to look down at the courtyard. Another round of applause. The old geezer leaves the podium. Without further ado, please welcome our first presenter, a professor from the Academy of... So tired. The walk back to the city from Maison de Beauvoir took over an hour. Even after I got back to civilization, I couldn't find where I was exactly. Eventually, I gave up and called a taxi carriage. But unbelievably, the driver was a dolt. He didn't know where the house of Lord Godwin was. I had to force him to pull over so that I could hail yet another taxi. I didn't get home until well after midnight, and now my eyelids feel heavy. Heavy. He fell asleep. Oh God. Heavy. Hey! Hey, wake up! Elise, wake up! Lunch break's almost over. A girl dressed in the same factory uniform as mine is shaking my body. I peek up at her without lifting my head, which is resting on my arms as I am sitting slumped over a desk. Hey, Jude. Are you awake? Not sure. Do I look awake? I'd say so. What with us having a conversation and all. I get up and stretch my arms. Half awake, maybe. That's good enough to work, though. Oh, that's right. I have to see Mr. Nailton. I leave Jude and head to my supervisor's office. I pause at the door and take a deep breath before knocking. Come in. Good afternoon, Mr. Nailton. What do you need? His tone is really cold. This isn't going to be easy. I'm sorry, sir, but I lost my mana potion. Can I get an extra bottle of potion? No. But, listen, Miss Elise Shelley, employee number C15106. Listen, Miss Shelley, the rules state that every worker receives a bottle in the morning and another at lunch break. He is totally disinterested in my explanation. He barely looks up from his desk as he talks to me. I have to make him willing to help me somehow. I suck in a chest full of air and prepare to use the cutest voice I can muster. As far as I can tell from Mason, that means I have to just about squeal my request. Please, please, please give me another bottle of mana. Pretty please. The expression on Mr. Nailton's face doesn't change in the slightest. Well, that was totally embarrassing for me. Like I said, Miss Shelley, I can't give you another potion because that's against the rules. What did you say happened to the one you had again? I drank the potion as soon as I got in the morning, but lost the one from lunch break. I remember putting it beside the furnace, but I can't find it now. Why didn't you drink it right away? Well, I was... Wait. Mr. Nailton's eyes widen. He leans forward and lowers his voice. Do you think someone took it? No, I wouldn't think that. Mr. Nailton straightens his posture again and crosses his arms. So where's your potion? Ugh, he really doesn't want to give me that bottle of mana, does he? Stingy, cheapo! You'd have to come to this, I have no choice but to play my trump card. You should never underestimate a girl in desperation, Mr. Nailton. I bow my head and stare at my feet. I'm sorry, Mr. Nailton. I pause for a few seconds after speaking in a shaky voice. My boss's face is starting to soften up. He can sense it that something is about to happen. At least that's what I imagine his face is doing. I can't actually see it because I'm still looking down at the floor. When I look up again, I make the most doleful look I can. I stare right into his eyes, my eyelids glistening and my pupils dilated with longing. Eyebrows raised and tilted to the forehead, my lips half open as if about to let some words out but lacking courage to do so, and my cheeks pink in shame. Okay, I can't actually look at my own cheeks, as far as I know I have never once blushed in my life, but pink is how I visualize them. I promise I'll work really hard today. Please? My boss gapes at me, almost in disbelief. At last he lowers and shakes his head with his eyes closed. Fine. Ugh, but only this time, you hear? He raises from his chair, walks to a cabinet at the back of his office, and opens it. From inside the cabinet, he fetches a vial of clear blue liquid. He walks back and hands me the vial. I take it without the least hesitation, and joy soon returns to my face. Thank you, Mr. Nailton. Then at his yes, now go away hand gesture, I turn to the door, step outside his office, and slip the vial of mana potion inside a pocket on my work apron. I go back to my working spot happily after successfully pulling off what the girls at Mason dubbed the male's inducement technique first movement. Okay. I never asked them about any subsequent movements. In any case, I've got what I wanted. Time to get back to work. This factory produces tons of machinery, literally tons, every day. From household appliances to machines for public utility, we have a section for just about everything. The section where I work, though, deals with what people call the boring stuff. We make chases for various kinds of machinery and assemble components from other sections into these chases to produce final products. Meanwhile, engines like the mana absorption engine and the magic casting engine are made elsewhere and brought here for the final assembly. But hey, even working on the not boring stuff still mostly involves casting the same magic all day every day, so how exciting can it be? That's just how work in a factory is. You come in the morning, drink a bottle of mana, use it all up by casting the same magic until lunch, then you gulp down another bottle of mana after lunch and continue casting that exact same magic again until the end of the shift at sundown. And that's basically my life in a nutshell. Mine and everyone else's. I'm back at my post. A huge empty furnace looms in front of me, silent. I start to focus on courage. So, Elise, did the boss give it to you? Had to use my feminine charm, but yes, he did. A clanging sound from the furnace calls my attention. I see that the furnace is now filled with chunks of metal. I think they're aluminum, or is it zinc, that had been dropped by a machine on the upper floor straight into the furnace. I reach out with one hand. Summoning courage! Summon. A fire bursts inside the furnace, and the chunks of metal are quickly swallowed by the flames. Did he take it out of your wages? I hope not. He didn't mention anything. Do they usually do that? If they like you, usually not the first time. Just don't make it a habit. I know. A minute later, the metal has turned completely into burning liquid. A small door at the side of the furnace opens, and the liquid streams down through a pipe that it distributes it to several different shaped molds. One of the molds is right beside Jude, who has just finished gathering courage in her hand. Once her mold is full with hot metallic liquid, she places her hand a few inches above it. Nullify. Jude casts a spell and heat starts gradually leaving the liquid, slowly transforming the molten metal into a solid chassis part. At the same time, more chunks of metal are being deposited into my furnace. I cast fire again. You know, my parents used to say that I have great talents in magic. They said I could become a mage. Too bad nowadays a magician can only become a mage if she graduates from a magic school. Well, you might never be a mage, but you are talented. Look at you handling that gigantic furnace while the rest of us have these molds. Yeah, maybe, but I have a feeling that my parents didn't imagine me melting metal for a living when they said that. The metal in Jude's mold is completely cooled. It's ready to be used for the final assembly of the machine. She takes the chassis part out of the mold and puts it on a conveyor belt nearby, which will deliver it to a mechanical system to be assembled together with other parts and engines. Soon another new machine will have been produced. This pre-configured mechanical system is made up of gears, bolts, roller chain, and a bunch of other things whose names I don't know. The whole thing can be operated simply by rotating the first gear, which is kept in motion by another worker who continuously casts spin on it through the day. I guess they wouldn't have. All parents say this kind of thing about their kids, don't they? They're all like, oh my gosh, I can feel courage for my little baby girl. And she's like 1. Hello, parents. Newsflash. If your baby can't walk or talk yet, you probably can't get a good feel on her future magical talents. Jude casts another freeze spell on her mold. Let them talk. None of it matters to us pearls anyway. Even if you could cast the strongest magic in the world, that wouldn't mean anything if you didn't have the money to buy mana potions. I cast another fire. I can't count how many times I've cast this same spell since this morning. We do get supplies of mana from the factory, but only enough for factory work. And eating food, drinking water, and even breathing air do restore some mana. But not by much. It sucks to be poor, doesn't it? Just be thankful there are people worse off than us. Some people don't have a job, so they can't make a living at all. Why do people always do that? Always do what? Jude looks honestly puzzled by my question. Saying be thankful others have it worse. Why do people always say that? Is knowing that life can be even crappier than I thought supposed to make me feel better? What do I say here? Yep, now that I realize just how much more messed up this world is for some other people, I feel so great in comparison. Yes! Finally, somebody gets it. Like, it's the most annoying thing in the world when people say that to me all the time, because it's just like, you know what? That doesn't make me feel better. It doesn't make me feel better that it could be worse. In fact, I already thought of that. And you know what? I am a little bit thankful that it's not, but that doesn't mean that my suffering is any less of a problem to me than it is. Because, like, it doesn't fix anything to just say that. It really doesn't. And I'm glad that Elise is hitting that on the head, because fuck that saying. Jude gawks at me with a funny expression, like she wanted to laugh, but laughing felt wrong. She doesn't even look mad. It's more like her eyes were saying, "Really, Elise?" We've both gone quiet. Well, I guess we're changing perspectives. Well, I think I'm gonna call it off here. It's been a good run for this episode, and it touched on a pretty interesting subject. So yeah, I'll let that thought linger in your minds for a while. Later, guys. Hey guys, and that was an octave higher. If you're interested in checking out the next episode, then just click on the icon on the right-hand side. If you're interested in any of the other games that I have listed here that have very similar storylines that are pretty intricate, I would say to check them out as well. And if you want to subscribe, just click my icon and we're good to go. So yeah, see you later.